Hey guys, I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy. I'm here to give you, I guess, a 5 minute Devo or so. Rodney asked me to come out here and do this little recording, and I'm super excited to be here and to be able to share a few minutes with you. I know right now we're going through a difficult time with this pandemic, COVID-19, as we call it, right? And so some of us have been stuck at home, not being able to get out and socialize the way we normally do, and to go about our normal routine. And so this is incredibly difficult, not only for myself, but for many people, right? It's getting kind of frustrating. I mean, I was at Walmart the other day, and they had changed how you could even go into Walmart. It was almost like they were herding cattle through there, right? And you go over to the Target shopping center, and most of the stores are shut down. And here, not too long ago, the governor actually put the entire state on quarantine, where only essential personnel could be traveling and doing the things that they need to do. And so we're just living in a very difficult time, and it's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to just kind of give up on doing good. And so I just want to spend a few minutes in Galatians to see what Paul has to say about going through difficult times and doing good and being a Christian man or woman and being of service. So if you would, turn with me to Galatians chapter 6. I'm going to start the reading out in verse 6 of Galatians chapter 6. Let the one who is taught the word share all good things with the one who teaches. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, that he will also reap. For the one who sows to his own flesh will from flesh reap corruption. But the one who sows to the Spirit will from the Spirit reap eternal life. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially to those who are of the household of faith, right? And so Paul addresses this very thing, right? He tells us to not grow weary in doing good, but before he actually gets to that statement, he says a few things before that we need to look at, right? He says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Okay, God is not tricked. God is not insulted. He's his intelligence is not up for humor, to pick fun at him. He's not mocked. For whatever one sows, that is what they'll reap, right? And so I know that maybe some of y'all do some farming, but probably the majority don't. So this could possibly kind of be lost in translation. So let me just kind of spend a little bit of time explaining what we have here. It says, whatever somebody sows is what they reap. So whatever you put in the ground, whatever action you create or you invest in is going to create a product, right? And so for where I work at HISWAY or the church that I preach at, sometimes I'll ask a question, if you plant an apple seed, what kind of fruit are you going to get? And people will say, an apple. And I say, okay, what about an orange seed? I say, well, an orange. And I said, well, what about a corn seed? If that even exists. I don't even know how they plant corn. But if there's a corn seed, what's going to come out? And they say corn, right? So whatever you plant in the ground, that is what comes out. And then I look at them and I say, well, so what you're telling me is you can't plant an apple seed and get an orange. And they look at me kind of crazy. And some of y'all might be actually kind of looking at this video a little crazy. And I respond by saying, I don't know why you're looking at me this way. This is how a majority of people do their life. They sow negative things and expect positive outcomes, right? They sow laziness. They sow dishonesty. They sow ego. They sow pride. And then all of a sudden they think that they're going to have this harvest of healthy relationships, of trust, of respect, of, I don't know if you have a job, of advancement, right, or pay raises. And they get surprised when that doesn't happen. But the reality is that all of life is set up this way. The reality is that everything in life is designed that whatever you put out, whatever you put on the table, that is what you're going to get in return. And so we need to be mindful of that. We're in a frustrating time, and things are changing, and we can't do things the way we want to do them. And so we get tired of putting out and not getting something in return. But the thing that you need to understand about this putting out, and the reason why it's so difficult, is when you plant something, it doesn't come out as fruit the next day. There is a period of time, right, that you put it in the ground, and you have a lot of work that you have to do. You have to do good to the soul, right? You have to fertilize it. You have to water it. You have to weed it. You have to pay attention. Sometimes you have to trim whatever bush or tree back so that the fruit or the vegetable has that opportunity to develop to its fullest potential. So it doesn't just happen overnight, right? It takes time. And the same thing goes with our actions. That's why Paul has to say, don't grow weary in doing good, because he knows that you might do something nice for somebody today, or you might be nice and kind to your brother or sister, or doing things for your mother, or doing things for kids at school. And it might be a while before you really either see the return on what you did or understand the return on what you did. And so in that process, there's that patience. There's a constant, consistent, faithful action that has to happen. And he says that don't get confused. Like, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. So don't get weary. Don't quit doing good, because if you quit doing good, you're going to be putting something in the soul. And if you start putting something negative in the soul, you're going to reap to it. So if you're putting flesh out there, right, you're going to get flesh in return. You're going to get consequences, negative consequences. But if you're putting spirituality out there, if you're putting the fruit of the Spirit out there, if you're trying to live like Jesus and to love like Jesus, then you're going to get the benefits of that, right? You're going to get the positive. And so we don't want to grow weary in that. And then finally, in verse 10, it says, so then, as we have opportunity, right? So don't get hung up on how it gets done. So sometimes we're like, well, I can't do anything because I'm stuck at the house, or I'm limited because I can't go to school. I've got to do it online, all that. That's okay. It just means that that's not the way you're supposed to do it. It says, as you have opportunity, if you have a service mind, if you have a planting mind, right? I'm going to do good because I know the good's going to come from it. If you have that kind of planting mind, then you're going to be prepared to actually see the opportunities for what they are, right? For example, Rodney, your youth minister, is trying to plant good. He's trying to invest in y'all. And so he wants to continue farming that soul and spending time with that soul, because he knows what the outcome that will eventually come. But Rodney's opportunities have changed because y'all are not able to come up to church, to my knowledge. You're limited in your face-to-face interaction, based upon social distancing. We can't all just, 40 people can't sit in a classroom together because we just don't have the room, right? And so Rodney's having to come up with different ways, right? He's looking at different opportunities. So he's making this devotional series over video, right? And so he's taking those opportunities. So it says, as we have opportunity, and then it says, let us do good to everyone. That pretty much covers it. Right after that, it says, especially the household of faith, especially your Christian brothers and sisters. You need to be mindful of them because we're family, right? But God covers it. He says, do good to everyone. Everyone. That means the people that you like. That means your family, your friends. But it also means the people that you don't like or the people that you don't know. Being respectful there, right? in COVID-19, like something that you could do that is good is, I know when we're young, we kind of think about ourselves and say, hey, if I get sick, I'm probably going to be all right. I don't have any pre-existing issues. And quite frankly, I'm just not old. So I can kind of do what I want to do, and be who I want to be and go where I want to go. And, who cares about anybody else? But the reality is, we're supposed to be doing good to everyone. That means that we need to be living our life in such a way that we're keeping other people safe, right? We're keeping older people safe. We're keeping people with pre-existing conditions safe. So we're thinking about others. And this goes across the board. So it's not limiting, right? It's like, well, I can't go to church, and I can't do communion, or I can't lead a Bible class, or I can't, usher people in, so I can't really do anything good. That's not true, because it says about everyone, and everyone's not going to church. Everyone is out in the world, and so there's plenty of opportunities for us to do good. And I know that y'all are a wonderful group of people that have a lot of good, that have in you, that have a lot of talent to do a lot of different things. In some ways, in a lot of things, just because of your age and growing up with technology, there's a lot of things that y'all can do just naturally that Rodney and I, quite frankly, have to learn the hard way because it's not natural for us. We were, believe it or not, we were born before answer machines existed. So I can remember being in high school with beepers. So technology is a little bit difficult for us to deal with, but for y'all, it's easy. So y'all have a lot of advantages, and y'all have a lot of opportunities coming your way. And I just pray that you step out of your comfort zone and be the Christian man or woman that God calls you to be. And finally, I hope y'all stay safe. I hope y'all stay healthy. And I hope that y'all continue to spread the love of Jesus Christ to the people that you may come into contact with.